What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the show. I hope you are having a fantastic start to 2025 and you've made a good effort at setting some good, strong goals and you're starting to chip away at them. For me, where am I at just now? Well, we've got up in our first alarm every single day except this morning. We had a late studio booking last night and it just shows you throwing yourself at a routine definitely throws everything else off. I set my alarm a wee bit later and then snoozed it. Jill went and worked out and that one thing threw me off. But yeah, we live and we learn. The day streak has been ended at day 7 days in a row. Sorry, I was doing this before Christmas actually. So we're maybe about on a 9-day streak and we've reset. We're back to it today and we'll try and keep smashing it. So what I thought I would do on today's episode, I've had a good number of guys and girls reach out to me on the recent launch of the Bulletproof Strong 12-week workout program. In today's episode, I'm going to explain what that is. I'm going to take you through it, the thought process behind it, what you can expect, the exercises, and just answer all the common questions that I'm getting asked at it. So there isn't an episode that I can send out to everyone. For you guys who are regular listeners of the show, this is almost like a soft launch. This is me, the one product that I've finally created and put it out there. I want to help as many of you guys as I possibly can. That's why I do and communicate a lot of the stuff for free on this episode. Sadly though, with free information, sometimes people still don't pull the trigger and there's only so much time I can, so many hours in a day I can give to certain individuals, which is why I can't work with absolutely everyone. So the program was my way of putting something out there that if you like what I do and you want to support me and also get the feedback from me or the structure from me and follow a half-decent workout program, then I thought, you know what, let me create one. And when I was thinking about what do I create, do I do something for beginners? And if you're a long-term listener, you would remember me and James talking about the Starting Strong workout program, which is more aimed at beginners, but the feedback that we got for the guys that ran that was there's a bit of consistency at the start, but because they weren't experienced in the gym, some of the lifts that we had programmed, they had just had challenges working towards some of those lifts, like your basic compound lifts. But even with the basic compound lifts, you still need to have some element of expertise going into that. So having a program that's beginners only, honestly, if you're a beginner dipping your toe into lifting weights, do you have to hire a coach? Not necessarily, but is it worth doing? Absolutely. And I'm not saying that this needs to be me, it can be absolutely anyone, but if you just hire a coach to walk you through the main lifts inside the first month or 2 months, it's going to actually set you up for more success than you realise. You might have big goals to lose a bunch of weight or have these body composition changes, being able to run and perform at these different distances or this high rocks event or whatever it may be. Setting a good foundation when it comes to your compound lifts is crucial. So the program, I decided to kind of rejig a little bit. And before launching this, if any of you have been following me on social media, you'll see that on the last 8 weeks of the year, I ran a competition and I launched 2 small group personal training sessions and I called it the Strong Workshops. And this was an 8-week program that I saw the guys 2 to 3 times throughout the week, and we followed the structure and looked at benchmarks of where everyone's compound lifts were to start with, how strong their grip strength was, how good what their body composition looked like from taking measurements, weights on the scales, etc., etc. And this set the foundation for what the program that I've officially launched as of, well, I actually launched it on Christmas Day, and this is something that I'm going to throw out there. So the idea came because I thought, when you look at workout programs, what is it that everyone's doing? Everyone's sort of doing push-pull leg splits. Everyone's sort of doing bodybuilding splits. They are the 2 most common programs that you'll see that are given from coaches or that you can get online. And there's nothing wrong with them. But what I've realised over the years of spending tens of thousands of pounds on workout programs and coaches, that the push-pull leg splits and the bodybuilding splits, there's a massive discrepancy of what audience those people serve and then the type of clients that I was coaching. And what I found is that full body routines, there was not they were very limited on the information or programs in general that served that population. So think about it. You could work out 2 to 3 times a week for the next 12 weeks, and you can see better results than your friend that's doing a push-pull leg split or doing a bodybuilding split. You might think to yourself, how is that possible? Well, there's a couple of reasons. I'm going to come on to that in a sec, but I want to just talk about the reason why I started to create this. Full body routines, I made the complete switch over at the age of, I want to say 23, 24. Now, in that cycle, or in that period of time from then until now, about 6 years or so, I've went through various different training phases, I guess you want to call that, and you should too. And my plan with the programming side of the business is to have a couple of different options for you guys who want to pursue big aspirations with your fitness goals. Maybe you want to run your first 5k, run your first 10k, maybe you want to do your first high rocks. All of those goals are great, but we need a strong foundation to begin with. And a strong foundation is going to allow us to go into these events and not only perform really well, but be pain-free, have a resilient body, and not fall into the trap where many, many people who go into this are actually getting injured. And why they're injuring themselves? Because the foundations that's been laid haven't been right. They've just jumped 3, 4, 5 steps and went straight into the deep end of high intensity and not built this resilient muscles, tendons, ligaments, so that when we ramp up the intensity in any given movement, the body's breaking down and the response is injury, tear, you name it. That's what this program is. That's ultimately what this is. This is a combination of everything that I've learned from a full body perspective, not only by training myself or training Jillian and training friends, but training hundreds of clients. Now, full transparency here. The more specific the program to the niggles and things that you have, the better you're going to get, right? But if you've made the decision or you're thinking that, look, I can't quite afford a coach just now, then this is a fraction of the cost for that. If there's anything you take away from this episode, or if you haven't listened to the previous episode where I spoke about why programming is important, I highly recommend you check that out first. I don't care if you don't go ahead with my program, but you need to be following some sort of structure. And I've had a few of you guys reach out and ask, how do I go about programming? And I'm going to do that in a later episode, so that whether you want to purchase mine or you want to create your own, there's certain things as to what I've learned seem to be the produce the best outcome and the best program. But as I said, it doesn't matter how good the program is, if you can't follow it consistently, it almost means shit, okay? So consistency and programming are important. And that's why the push-pull leg split didn't necessarily work for a large majority of my clients. The bodybuilding split, again, a large majority of my clients. Now, when I say the type of clients that I've trained, this was people in their 20s, it was people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s and 70s. So a very diverse group of individuals. And full body training for me, when I found it, came at a time in my life where I wanted to still change my body. I still wanted to see this physique transformation. But I was very much caught up in the bodybuilding world. I was very much in the headspace of, I need to be the biggest person. I need to get bigger. I need to get more shredded, bigger, more shredded, bigger, more shredded. There has to be a point where you can't get any bigger or you can't be more shredded because you're constantly comparing yourself to others. And that was leading me to become even more unhappy with how I looked. Now, looking back at those pictures, I can now look at that with this coaching lens and go, and I was in pretty damn good shape. If only I could appreciate how I looked then. Now, what I can do now, I can look back at that and appreciate the shape that I was in. But I can also look now at where I'm at now and appreciate the shape that I'm in now. Why? I kid you not, and I'm not saying this just because this is the program that I've created, but I owe a lot to that, or a lot of that mindset and that focus to full body style of training and compound lifts. Because what it done for me is it shifted the dynamic of how do I look to, okay, I can't do that fucking exercise. I need to work on that exercise. So I need to do slow reps. I need to do lightweight. I need to work on my form, work on my technique. Okay, now I need to add strength. I need to work in a lower rep range. And then I work on a muscle building rep range. Like all these different things shifted. This was a good 2-3 year shift. And before I knew it, I was only working out, I was working out 3 times a week, sometimes maybe 4. I went into the gym world, COVID happened first, which was another thing. And through that process, I gained a bunch of weight and had this really disconnect from, I was always known as the guy that had muscles. I was always known as the guy that was shredded. And because my identity was taken away from me, I felt really shit in myself. So following a full body routine, I actually started a resistance band program during this time as well in body weight. But following a full body routine, working in the gym, hustling away 50, 60 hour PT sessions within a week, I couldn't dedicate time towards what I thought would build the most muscle and build the most strength, which was the bodybuilding splits that I had been doing up until this point. So I thought, you know what, I've done this full body routine, I've been working on compound lifts, let me do that, because at least that'll keep things ticking over. And that's what I thought. Things will just tick over. I did not expect to hit a PB on all my lifts. I did not expect to get even leaner. And I don't even know if it's leaner. I just had this better outlook on how I felt. And by feeling better, a byproduct was I looked better. Because I wasn't just being hyper fixated on my left delt or my rear delts or my back or my biceps or my legs. It was just this complete package of, you know what, I'm consistently training everything and I'm only doing 2 to 4 sets per movement pattern, and that's ticking the box and hitting everything that I need to develop the muscles that I want. And talking about developing muscles, this is our misconception with full body training. If you want to grow your chest, then you need to hit it more frequent throughout the week. That's true, but why not do full body? I went from doing, I used to hit chest 2, sometimes 3 times a week. And what would I do in my chest days? Bench press, barbell bench press, incline bench press, decline bench press, it wasn't cable flies, dumbbell incline flies. Then I'd push the dumbbells together and do a Sven press, and then I would do cable flies. That would be one chest day. Then the second chest day, I'd do the opposite. I'd do the dumbbell variations and then include more cable work or pec deck stuff. Just absolutely overdoing it when it came to what my goal was. My goal was to develop my chest. Now, when I looked at full body routines, I remember doing the math and I was like, okay, I'm only doing 4 to 5 chest exercises technically throughout the week, and that's split over 3 workout days. I was scared. I'm not going to lie to you. I was worried that there was a part of me thinking that I'm going to lose my identity and I'm going to lose muscle mass. But because of COVID was a bit of a blessing, and I don't like saying I let myself go, but I think we all did. We didn't know what to do ourselves. I was still going walks. I tried to work out, but I didn't have anything I could do to work out. And I kind of was gaming a lot and was eating a lot. And the combination of doing that for several weeks and several months, then my body, like rightly so, my muscles got softer and I added a bit of weight gain. So I thought, I can't commit 6 days to the gym just now. Let me try it, right? Let me try it. I've done it in the past and it worked well, it worked okay, but is that a combination just because how committed I am? So COVID happens, we go through that whole process, and I start seeing some of the best results, the best response to any program that I followed by following a full body workout routine. And the structure of doing, more importantly, the structure of hitting all these muscle groups in one session, there's just a feeling that comes with it that is hard to explain to you guys. If you're used to doing your body part splits, you can get the feeling in your legs, but see, when you do these full body routines, there's almost, you're like on one hand you're thinking to yourself, man, I feel strong, I feel energetic, I feel like I could keep going. And that's the catch with this. Although you feel that way, don't keep going. Trust the program and see what happens. At least run through the whole program, whatever it is that you follow, whether it's my full body routine or someone else's. Trust the process and go through it once and then make your tweaks afterwards, because you don't know what you don't know. Back to the last episode, the unconscious bias, the unconsciousness of what it is that you're trying to learn. Now, because that had such a profound impact on me, when I started coaching individuals, you'd have the clients who would come to you and they're so highly motivated, particularly this time of year. And this might resonate with you. You think to yourself, I'm going to smash the gym. I'm going to do 4 or 5 days a week easy. But you've never really done 4 or 5 days a week of training. You might have done the odd week, maybe even the odd string of weeks together over the course of the last couple of years. But the likelihood is you are someone that you maybe want to live and breathe the gym, but you have other priorities in your life. Relationships, friendships, work commitments, whatever that may be. And I would always say, although I love the fire, I love the energy, I love the passion, you think doing 4 or 5 days in the week to punish yourself or to catch up for lost time is going to get you there quicker. But in fact, it doesn't. Every single time, and I've not came across one individual that I overprescribed the workouts and they managed to do it. Sometimes I've got very, very stubborn clients that I've worked with in the past and they're like, no, I want 5 days a week. And I say, okay, let's do it. And I'm not doing it to be spiteful. I'm just doing it. It's like, okay, you need to learn this yourself, because although I'm telling you what could happen here, it's like going in one ear and out the other ear. So it's like, right, cool. One of the best learning principles is failure. So let's see if you can stick this. And here, you might prove me wrong, and I hope that you do. We run a 5-day-a-week training split, and then we look at the average over the past month, and the average becomes 2. And you think, how can you go from 5 days a week and being committed to 5 to hitting 2? Because you don't know what's around the corner. Sometimes it might be a drastic tragedy in your life from a family member, a friend, or whatever. And sometimes it just might be, fuck man, work's really busy this month and I'm really stressed out. No matter what it is, one of the ways to be bulletproof towards this, and there's a pun there, but that's why when I was coming up with the name of what I wanted to do to build this bigger brand and just coach Crossar, bulletproof was one of the words that came to me. And it's like, compound lifts have generally been one of the reasons I've managed to level up in so many areas in my life, because it's made me resilient. So it has made me kind of, in that term, bulletproof towards this lifestyle. And I would say if I think about, lifting since I was 15, so what are we talking about, 16 years of lifting, I've probably committed nearly half my time of properly training and properly following exercise programs in the full body split world than I have the body part split. So I'm just coming up about half. And by doing the full body stuff, I've managed to transition into so many areas of fitness and performance and not had any injury or pain or niggles, because I've, I guess, in a way, strategically trained my body to be more resilient. And I've done that by not neglecting movement patterns. Because when you go to your push-pull split or your bodybuilding split, you're going to miss a couple of days. It's just granted. But the good thing is, on a full body routine, even if you've got 3 days in the week and you only do 1 day, is full body training. So that 1 day you've hit all your movement patterns within reason. Is it better to hit all 3 days? Of course. But sometimes life's life. And when life is life, then there's very little we can do with it, but you can still build strength and you can still build muscle by following a split that is full body. Now, with that being said, that's where the inspiration came from to create this program. And don't get me wrong, later down the line, I would love to create a body part split program for those of you who are more interested in building a specific area of your body, because it makes sense. If I want to grow my glutes, then creating a program to just specifically grow my glutes is going to get me there. But if I'm not necessarily fussed about a particular body part and I just want to see this overall, not even transformation, but this overall development of my body, then I'm going to choose full body all the time. And here's the tip of what I do. So the 3 days a week will be full body. Now, let's say there was a body part that I wanted to focus on. Let's say I wanted to get my arms bigger. Well, out of the 3 days in the week, I know I'm going to grow and develop my arms. I'm going to develop my shoulders, my back, my chest, my legs, my bum. All that's going to happen because I'm resistance training 3 times a week. Now, on the good weeks, I'm going to throw in an extra session where I specifically focus on those areas. And it's only going to be 20 minutes and it's only going to be lighter resistance work. So it's going to be banded or it's going to be cabled. Sometimes you could get away with dumbbells depending on how hard you pushed it within the week. And that's honestly one of the best things you can do to develop specific areas of your body. It's having this strong fire signal in you consistently throughout the week where you've hit all these compound lifts, you've done all these movement patterns, you've got this loud signal, your nutrition's good, your protein's good, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to specifically focus on this for the next 3 weeks. You will see changes. So I thought to myself, one of the first programs I want to create to throw out there and be part of the brand that you can experience for yourself is something around building strength, building resilience, utilises compound lifts, but more importantly, is in a style of a full body training split. Because I kid you not, if more people just bought into the full body routine, they would have way more results than any of the body part splits. if you're not wanting to be a bodybuilder. That is the only caveat, right? If you don't want to be a bodybuilder, to an extent, following a body part split ain't the right thing for you just yet. What you'd be better to do is do a full body type of routine for 12 weeks, cycle that through, then introduce a body part split for the next 12 weeks, and then go back, and then go, after the 12 weeks has passed, go back to a full body split, and that's how you cycle your programming. Now, in the last episode, I spoke about phasing. This is the other important part. Programming isn't just throwing a bunch of random exercises together. In a way, it does do my box in, but I understand the value in it. When you go to these classes, more so in CrossFit, it's the community aspect of bringing people together and doing fitness. That is so fucking fun to do. Now, in these types of worlds, it's a random workout. And that random workout will get you results or will get you some sort of gain when it comes to your fitness, but it's not going to help you progress. You might hit a plateau with some of these. If you're new to it, you won't. But usually if you've been doing it for a little while, you'll hit this wall and you'll start getting injured. You'll start feeling these niggles hitting out across your body because you're doing these repetitive movements without any progression or any meaning whatsoever. So when you go into programming, again, programming isn't just a bunch of random exercises one week and the next week and the next week. It's having a structure, and that structure should follow the same exercises, the same rep ranges, with a few gradual increases from week to week to week. The way I've designed mine is 3 phases. Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3. Phase 1 is the foundations. Just like when you build a house, if the foundations aren't flat, they're not level, and time hasn't been put into preparing those foundations correctly, it doesn't matter how beautiful that house is. If it's built on dodgy foundations, then the house is going to be squint, it's going to fall over, it's not going to be structurally sound. This is the same idea when it comes to following this or building your own body. We need solid foundations. And this is what I said earlier. Everyone getting caught up running a 5K, a 10K, a CrossFit workout, signing up for High Rocks. They're jumping over that step and they're not laying these solid foundations. And that's what we do in phase 1 of this program. Now, phase 1 is 3 workout days. It's about 7 to 8 exercises on each day, and as I said, it's dumbbells and barbells. That means it's compound lifts, and the key part of this phase is it's lighter weight, slow eccentrics, which is basically just slowing the way down, and pauses. Those are the fundamentally the single best thing you can do when you starting a new training modality is working on the technique, slowing it down, added in pauses for shortened reps. And oh my God, the mobility improvements you feel, the chronic pain that you might have thought you had starts to eliminate. Like, there's so many things that happen in this phase of training that you do not realise you could have done. Because if you were like me, coming through this and you've seen the full body, I thought, I'm too experienced for a full body routine. I'm too good for a full body routine, until I decided to give it a try, and I was humbled. And not only was I humbled, I saw, as I said, more development and more strength and more gain from following a workout program that was less volume than what I was used to. Just because it's more volume doesn't mean it's better. And ironically, the less you do, if you find your sweet spot you'll get more out of. It's not about doing too little or too much. It's about trying to find that sweet spot. And I believe I've hit the nail on the head with this sweet spot because of the guys that I took through the small group PTing and people that I've worked with in the past that I've kind of programmed full body training. So phase 1 is 4 weeks long. Within that 4 weeks, it's first week is your baseline week, your calibration week, where you go in, you're going to get my app here, you'll have the exercises, you'll have the reps, the synopsis of what you have to do, and the exercise demonstration. Week 1, you're not going to have any data. So what do? So if I load up the first workout program, in the first workout, we got 3 sets of back squats, 6 to 10 reps, slow eccentrics. And slow eccentrics is a 5 seconds on the way down and a 2-second pause. So we're going to do that, but we've never done it before. So what weight do we pick? Well, we start with a bar. Or maybe we start with 30 kilo. We start with a weight that gets us in that rep range. And the good thing about program, or the way that I've designed this program, within the rep range, you either hit the minimum or hit the maximum or hit in between. If you can't make it to the minimum, input your weight. So let's say we do 5 reps at 40 kilo. Well, the synopsis on here was to do between 6 and 10. So that means I need to lighten up the load and hit in between that rep range. And let's say I get 10, okay, I'm going to gradually increase the weight. And that's how you start to see progress throughout this program. It's very hard not to get results from this. Honestly, it's virtually impossible to follow each one of these days and not see results. And I don't say that to brag, but that's the case with anything. If you can consistently go to the gym every single Monday and just do your own thing and randomize your workouts, you're going to see results. And you're going to see even more results when you start following a structure. And that's the argument I'm trying to make here. So that's phase 1. Phase 2 is probably arguably the most exciting phase that I take every single client through, and that is your strength phase. That is where we work between a 3 to 6 rep range on most exercises. They're compound lifts, and you get to see what you're made of. You get to see your capabilities and your strength over a 4-week period. Now, I'm so confident in this phase, if you don't get a PB on your lifts, I will personally give you £1,000. That's how confident I am that this program works when it comes to that sort of stuff. And putting my program aside, just following a structure to your compound list where you have a chance to do a phase of training and week on week slowly increase the weight, look what it does to your overall strength. It's truly remarkable, and it was something I was missing the point on for so many years. I don't wish I'd done it sooner, because everything goes to our learning in life, but it was such a profound experience. That's why I'm sharing it with you guys, because I couldn't believe it. Like I say, I was turning my nose up for it for so long. I don't need full body routine. That's for gimps. That's for people who can't commit to 6 days a week in the gym. I'm harder than everybody else. Shut up, you dweeb. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just arrogance, and it's naivety. It's being naive. I'll just go with that one. And it's also being young, because I'm young. I'm 21. I'm like, you just need to make time for it. Forgetting that I don't have a family. Me and Gillian live in the house ourselves. We have very little commitments. It's honestly, it's mad to think about. And I remember in the office world, people used to say, like, what do you do for training? And I'd be like, this. And they're like, oh, I can never do that. It's like, yeah, you can. You just need to work harder. We've all got the same 24 hours in a day. They've got 3 kids. they're split up from their husband or wife. Like, it's such a backhanded thing to do as well. How shit would they feel? It's like, to be young again. That's where those phrases come from. So this phase 2 is the strength phase. And the way I've designed this program is pretty much how I would do it if I'm working with you on a one-to-one basis. Usually I start with an assessment, then we go into a technical phase, then we go into a strength phase, and then we follow up a strength phase with I guess you would class it as a muscle building phase. So we increase the reps, we decrease the rest times, and changing up a few of the exercises, and we focus on the squeeze and the pumping of the muscle. Now, that's hard to do in a 3 rep range, which is why I do it above 8 to 12, and some exercises 12 to 15. Now, each one of these phases, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, you are in it's not just the same exercise structure. So although you're squatting in each one of those phases, you squat at different points. And these all have 3 workout days. But the best thing that this all has as well, where I think is the best thing, is you'll have prescribed steps is what you want to do. But more importantly, you'll have a daily mobility routine that you can follow. And you can use this as your warm-up. You can use it as your cool-down. The Scottish coming out in me. You can use it as your off days, your off-day recovery. This is the most golden part about the program that's going to be massively underappreciated, because people don't care about mobility. They just want to see results. They just want to see fat loss. But honestly, once you try it, you'll never look by it. That is a new phrase. The last thing I'll say about this program, and then I'll shut up, and we won't need to talk about it ever again. I might talk about it in the future, but if you get any questions, obviously, please reach out to me. Please ask me. If you're on the fence and whatever, then let me know. Let me know what the hesitation is. The other thing that I've put in here is the Bulletproof benchmark sessions that I was doing with my one-to-one clients. And this is basically like a 8-point assessment. So you do it at the start and you do it at the end, and that ultimately helps you measure not just weight in the scales or body measuring, but it helps you measure grip strength. It helps you measure these other aspects. Now, you might not have a grip dynamometer when you download this program, but I would always invite you over here if you wanted to, if you could make it here. If you can't, there's a link within the videos on where you can get it on Amazon. I think it's like 30 quid. It was a great piece of equipment, a great tool to have to measure how strong are you physically getting. Now, strength is hard to measure, right? Someone who runs 100k, they'll have stronger legs than someone who doesn't. But someone who squats 100 kilos will have stronger legs than the person who runs 100k potentially. So it's all very subjective with objective markers. So it's all very like, who's to say squatting your body weight isn't as impressive as squatting double your body weight? Like, it's all relative to where you're at in your journey. And that's where the benchmark sessions come in, because you do them at the start and you have your numbers, and then when you do it at the end, you have your numbers, and those numbers increase, those numbers improve. Now, there is other aspects in the benchmark session, like testing your endurance and your breath work and all that sort of stuff, but I've modified it so that you just see your grip. You just see the strength elements, because that's what this program's going to do. And a hint for future programs, we'll have things like how to work on your endurance, how to increase your endurance, how to improve your running, how to improve these other aspects of things that you want to maybe perform better at. So that wraps up the program. Now, the cost of this is just £12 per week, £48 a month for 3 months. And as I said, a fraction of the cost of what you would need. This is generally like having me with you by your side, because in your app, you have ways of giving feedback, you have ways of receiving feedback, but more importantly, you have a tracking system. You have that tracking element with the exercise demonstrations and the guidance that I have put in as to what I would do with my one-to-one clients. The only difference is I don't check in with you. That's generally the only difference. Now, the beauty of the program and the structure is you have ways to give feedback. You have ways to write down what's going on, if there's any niggles or whatever, and that tracks that for you as well. And it means we can look back. So let's say you get 12 weeks down the line and you have some feedback for me, or you have some things that you're like, Dale, I've been doing this program, but X, Y, and Z is starting to happen. Well, it gives me an opportunity to go into your database, look back at the workouts and the information that you submit, and go, right, here's what I think's going on here, and here's some tweaks that we might need to make. This is the other thing that's I've not really spoke about. Each exercise can be customized, can be swapped out for another exercise that may have to come in for a variety of different reasons. But ultimately, this program is going to give you more strength. It's going to get you more confidence in the compound list, but also in how heavy you're lifting. Just the whole general approach to going into the gym. And because you look at a weight and you're like, I don't know if I can do that, and slowly, like, you can't just be stagnant. The whole point is, like, you'll see what numbers you lifted the previous week, and your guidance on that in the strength phase is to lift a wee bit more the next week, whether it's an extra rep within the rep range or it's an extra 1.25 kilo on each side. It's so, as I said, it's virtually impossible to not see results of this if you're following the program. So that is my pitch to you. You can try it out for 30 days, and if you don't like it, by the end of the 30 days, all you need to do is drop me a wee message and say, here, I don't think this is the right program for me, and you'll get your money back. I don't want to have someone paying out of pocket for something that they don't feel is a right fit for them. But I would like to know why it's not the fit for you. Never had to do that in all of my years of personal training so far, because it's something I do in my one-to-one personal training, and something I'm quite proud of. So you generally have nothing to lose. If you're on the fence and you're looking for a structure, then why not do one that I've created? Now, if you want to build your own, then one of the next episodes that I'm going to release is going to be around that, and I'll help guide you through that as well, of course. That wraps up for today's episode. This is the Bulletproof Strong 12-week workout program. Love to see so many of you guys try it. As I said, I've had a bunch of people try this style and this structure over the last 6 months and the last couple of years, and they have all loved that. They have all seen results with not minimal effort, but with minimal effort in terms of going to the gym 2 days a week. If you think it's impossible to see structure and see results from training 2 to 3 times a week, you are so wrong. And this is the program to try if you want to see what it's all about. So, thank you for listening. I'll see you guys in the next one, a wee bit of a different episode, and have a fantastic rest. Oh, one of the last thing, if you're listening to this at the point of release or before Sunday, what day is it? Sunday the 12th. I'm doing a mad challenge, and I'll probably make this Monday's episode. In fact, no, I can't, because I'm not recording on Sunday. I'll make it next Thursday's episode. So Thursday the 16th, I'll do a follow-up. This Sunday, I'm doing a mental challenge. I'm going to bench 100 kilo for 100 reps. And then on the same day, or straight after it, I'm going to try and attempt and run 100 kilometres. Why? You'll need to find out as to why. But I want to raise awareness around not necessarily just men's mental health, just our mental toughness, the mental resilience that we all have, and how we need to go through certain challenges, whether it's walking through the gym doors or doing 100k. It's so drastic in how different those two things are, but equally they mean the same depending on the person that you're speaking to, because there's a mental block, there's a mental barrier in their mind to say, I can't do that. And that's what I want to try and prove through this challenge that I'm doing on Sunday. I'm doing it here at my gym, kicking off at 8 a.m. in the morning and then going up to Airdrie Sports Centre. If you're local and you want to drop by between the hours of 8, and it's probably going to take me 12 hours, if not longer, so between 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. up at the Airdrie Sports Centre track, come join me for a few laps. I might be walking some of them, but my goal is not to stop. And, well, not that I won't stop, but my goal is to complete it. I would love to complete it. And we're going to find out how mentally tough I am, how bulletproof that mindset is. So if you want to come down, check it out. Yeah, you'll see stuff on my social media at Coach Crossar. I'll see you guys on the next episode.